everything about April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day, celebrated on April 1 each year, has been celebrated for several centuries by different cultures, though its exact origins remain a mystery. April Fool's Day traditions include playing hoaxes or practical jokes on others, often yelling April Fools. At the end, a clue of the subject of the April Fool's Day prank. While its exact history is shrouded in mystery, the embrace of April Fool's Day jokes by the media and major brands has ensured the unofficial holiday's long life. Origins of April Fool's Day. Some historians speculate that April Fool's Day dates back to 1582, when France switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, as called for by the Council of Trent in 1563. In the Julian calendar, as in the Hindu calendar, the new year began with the spring equinox around April 1. People who were slow to get the news or failed to recognize that the start of the new year had moved to January 1 and continued to celebrate it during the last week of March through April 1 became the butt of jokes and hoaxes and were called April Fools. These pranks included having paper fish placed on their backs and being referred to as poisson d'avril, April fish, said to symbolize a young, easily caught fish and a gullible person. Hilaria in ancient Rome. Historians have also linked April Fool's Day to festivals, such as Hilaria, Latin for joyful, which was celebrated in ancient Rome at the end of March by followers of the cult of Cybele. It involved people dressing up in disguises and mocking fellow citizens and even magistrates, and was said to be inspired by the Egyptian legend of Isis, Osiris, and Seth. Vernal equinox and April Fools. There's also speculation that April Fool's Day was tied to the vernal equinox, or the first day of spring in the northern hemisphere, when Mother Nature fooled people with changing, unpredictable weather. History of April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day spread throughout Britain during the 18th century. In Scotland, the tradition became a two-day event, starting with hunting the gowk, in which people were sent on phony errands. Gowk is a word for cuckoo bird, a symbol for fool, and followed by Taily Day, which involved pranks played on people's derrieres, such as pinning fake tails or kick-me signs on them. April Fool's Day pranks. In modern times, people have gone to great lengths to create elaborate April Fool's Day hoaxes. Newspapers, radio and TV stations, and websites have participated in the April 1 tradition of reporting outrageous fictional claims that have fooled their audiences. In 1957, the BBC reported that Swiss farmers were experiencing a record spaghetti crop and showed footage of people harvesting noodles from trees. In 1985, Sports Illustrated writer George Plimpton tricked many readers when he ran a made-up article about a rookie pitcher named Sid Finch, who could throw a fastball over 168 miles per hour. In 1992, National Public Radio ran a spot with former President Richard Nixon saying he was running for president again. Only it was an actor, not Nixon, and the segment was all an April Fool's Day prank that caught the country by surprise. In 1996, Taco Bell, the fast food restaurant chain, duped people when it announced it had agreed to purchase Philadelphia's Liberty Bell and intended to rename it the Taco Liberty Bell. In 1998, after Burger King advertised a left-handed Whopper, scores of clueless customers requested the fake sandwich. Google notoriously hosts an annual April Fool's Day prank that has included everything from telepathic search to the ability to play Pac-Man on Google Maps. For the average trickster, there is always the classic April Fool's Day prank of covering the toilet with plastic wrap or switching out sugar and salt. April Fool's Day, also called All Fool's Day, in most countries the first day of April. It received its name from the custom of playing practical jokes on this day. For example, telling friends that their shoelaces are untied or sending them on so-called fool's errands. Although the day has been observed for centuries, its true origins are unknown and effectively unknowable. It resembles festivals such as the Hilaria of ancient Rome, held on March 25, and the Holi celebration in India, which ends on March 31. Some have proposed that the modern custom originated in France, officially with the Edict of Roussillon, promulgated in August 1564, in which Charles Aix decreed that the new year would no longer begin on Easter, as had been common throughout Christendom, but rather on January 1. because Easter was a lunar and therefore movable date. Those who clung to the old ways were the April Fools. Others have suggested that the timing of the day may be related to the vernal equinox, March 21, a time when people are fooled by sudden changes in the weather. There are variations between countries in the celebration of April Fool's Day, but all have in common an excuse to make someone play the fool. In France, for example, the fooled person is called poisson d'avril, April fish, perhaps in reference to a young fish, and hence to one that is easily caught. It is common for French children to pin a paper fish to the backs of unsuspecting friends. In Scotland, the day is Goki Day, for the goak or cuckoo, a symbol of the fool and the cuckold, which suggests that it may have been associated at one time with sexual license. On the following day, signs reading "Kick me" are pinned to friends' backs. In many countries, newspapers and other media participate, for example, with false headlines or news stories. Cinco de Mayo, Spanish, 5th of May, also called the anniversary of the Battle of Puebla, holiday celebrated in parts of Mexico and the United States in honor of a military victory in 1862 over the French forces of Napoleon II. When in 1861 Mexico declared a temporary moratorium on the repayment of foreign debts, English, Spanish, and French troops invaded the country. By April 1862, the English and Spanish had withdrawn, but the French, with the support of wealthy landowners, remained in an attempt to establish a monarchy under Maximilian of Austria and to curb U.S. power in North America. On May 5, 1862, a poorly equipped mestizo and Zapotec force, under the command of General Ignacio Zaragoza, defeated French troops at the Battle of Puebla, southeast of Mexico City. About 1,000 French troops were killed. Although the fighting continued and the French were not driven out for another 5 years, the victory at Puebla became a symbol of Mexican resistance to foreign domination. The city, which was later renamed Puebla de Zaragoza, is the site of a museum devoted to the battle, and the battlefield itself is maintained as a park. The day is celebrated in the state of Puebla with parades, speeches, and reenactments of the 1862 battle, though it is not much noticed in most of the rest of the country. In the mid-20th century United States, the celebration of Cinco de Mayo became among Mexican immigrants a way of encouraging pride in their Mexican heritage. Critics observed that enthusiasm for the holiday celebration did not take off with a broader demographic until it was explicitly linked with the promotion of Mexican alcoholic beverages, and that many U.S. festivities tended to both perpetuate negative stereotypes of Mexicans and promote excessive drinking. Cinco de Mayo is not to be confused with Mexican Independence Day, which falls on September 16. The latter holiday was established in 1810, some 50 years before the Battle of Puebla occurred. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.